All right, all right. We are back at the podcast studios today. We're doing it in Manasquan today, which is not normally where we shoot them, but we have a guest who's in Brielle, so it was easy to bring them right over. And today we have a special guest, Concetta Alvarez from ERS Better Homes. Good morning today. How are you?
Good morning, Tom.
How's everything?
Everything's going great.
Awesome. So you and I met through the K-Chev events.
Yes.
And
awesome event.
We have been in communication over the time. We follow each other on all the social medias, and
Definitely.
we're practically neighbors. Although you didn't think we were, didn't know we were
No,
neighbors.
I had no clue. So I was like, oh wow, I've been traveling this road all these years and not realizing.
I guess
it
the
was
big
right there.
sign that says "Wingman" with like 30-inch letters hasn't really resonated with you.
No, I think we need neon lights.
I mean, and I have it going all night long. So anyone in Brielle, I feel like sees that every day. But thanks for coming on today.
Oh my God, thank you so much, and happy 4th of July. Hope you had a great day.
Great day, great
Good,
weekend.
good.
So hopefully everything is good with you. So you're in a different kind of business, and I thought it would be interesting. No, not a different kind of business, but you're in a business where you're in a male-dominated, and in where we live and work in Monmouth and Ocean County, also second and third generation type guys, where it's been their businesses have been passed down. So you're in a unique world of getting business, having happy customers,
Yes.
and doing what you do because, again, of those two factors.
Yes.
Kind of tell us about it.
So
How you got into it, what you're doing, how you're different, all those kind of things.
little did I think 30 years ago I would be running a residential construction company. It actually surprises me at times too.
And what's your area of focus for your residential construction? Just because there's a lot of aspects of the home.
So we do major renovations, additions, and new home construction.
Okay.
That's kind of our niche. With the major renovations, of course, kitchens is our number one area, because a lot of times with kitchens, it's not just about the existing kitchen cabinets being removed and replaced. It's actually, let's remove some walls, let's redesign the kitchen, let's figure out the floor plan. So there's a lot more involved in that,
Especially with these homes on the shore, they're becoming
yeah.
bigger and bigger. I drove through Spring Lake recently, the Lake Como Spring Lake border.
Yes.
And those homes, they're right on top of each other.
Yes,
over there. Like,
as a matter of fact, I'm building one of those homes. That's right on top
every
of each
piece
other.
of square footage is used. Like, I can't imagine.
I know. So I am not the architect in play, but I do have a say, like when I see some of the designs that come across and everything. And I don't like overbuilding. I'm actually one of the rarer contractors. I prefer leaving the older homes intact and just modernizing it or making it better in regards to the energy efficiency items like your windows and so on. And I love doing that. I love taking the older homes built in the 30s and 40s and 50s and just saying, oh yeah, we could keep these little pieces here and we could revamp these sections and so on. But a lot of the clients rather just either knock it down and start anew.
Yeah.
So I have to adhere to what
It's a balance.
the balance is, yeah. And sometimes I will see these overbuilt homes on this really tiny parcel of land and going, I cannot believe we're doing this. But it is what it is, There's
no more land in a lot of these towns. That's the problem.
You think there's no more land, but somehow they're finding it. Somehow we're squeezing in that house in
They don't
between
want to go
two
west
other
or
houses.
south and get and
I
find
mean,
more land.
This is a very desirable area.
It is.
It's just amazing. You have the best of all worlds over here. I love the four seasons myself in regards to the fall, the autumn. I love that. I love the winter season. I do like those transition of seasons. And those transition of seasons also relates to my construction company, because it's like, okay, when I'm looking at something, I'm looking at it as the four seasons. Like, okay, we're putting these products in, but is it going to be sustainable for all four seasons? So there's a lot of things that go into that. But this area is just amazing. And kudos to all the contractors and general contractors who are doing an excellent job in communicating with all the people out there. I think it's great that we have such a wonderful group of contractors that we network with and we meet and see that, wow, these are legitimate people. These are legitimate companies that are doing trying to do the right thing for the clients. So I'm not a rarity in that respect, But I am a rarity in the respect that I am a woman, and I own a GC construction
In a
company.
boys' world.
In the boys' world, exactly.
How do you like that? How do they like you? You know, do you?
Well, it's
over
remarkable.
the years, it's got to be. I mean, you've been doing this a long time.
Yeah, I mean, 30 years ago, actually 35 years ago is when I met my husband. 36 years ago. Oops. So what happened is he owned a construction company, but I worked in corporate America. I mean, I went to school for accounting, finance, economics. I was a triple major in that.
A triple major. Where'd you go to college?
Yeah. So I went to Kane University.
Wow, triple major. That's impressive.
I went to Kane not by my first choice, but I'm glad I did because I had a lot of adjunct teachers that were actually, or professors that were actually business owners in the accounting finance world. So that really was awesome. And the class size was really small, which someone like me who asked a lot of questions needed that little small environment,
sure.
you know, so to interact. But I grew up in an Italian household where it's like nobody leaves the house until you get married, which is crazy because my kids are living with their partners, not married. But my mom is really cool with it.
But,
you know,
back when you were going through,
right.
that was a different time.
Totally different time.
Those old Italians.
But I did work in corporate America, and
Uh-huh.
I really enjoyed, like I worked for law firm, even construction companies, you know, insurance companies and all different facets. But I always learned about the industries I worked at. It wasn't just about doing that job that I was hired for, but understanding how everything affected that job. Because if I had a better understanding of what the operations were, I knew I could do my position much better. So I kind of took that philosophy when I met my husband, and I was seeing how he was running the construction company. And by the way, he's brilliant. I mean, oh my God, his mind is amazing. But like, I would sit there and go, well, what about this? And what about that? And you're not thinking about this. And that's because my mind worked in different sectors.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't tunnel vision. So at that point I said, you know, I want to work a few hours with your company. And while I was doing that, still working corporate America. But I didn't only just work a few hours like in the office. I actually wanted to know how things were built.
So you went to the job sites.
So I am one of those people that have installed windows, trimmed doors, tile, refinished a porcelain tub that was a 1920s tub, which I love that tub, by the way. I mean, I've installed flooring, I helped frame, and I think by being hands-on, and I'm a very visual person, that gave me a better understanding of like, oh, this is how it interconnects. Now I understand. Oh, this is why you're doing this. Oh, makes sense. Structurally, this makes sense. Oh, so now it becomes common sense to me because I was actually in the field doing this stuff. My husband couldn't believe it, like two belt and all, but I had a blast with it.
I love it.
It was fun, you know. So eventually we had 3 kids, and then we adopted another girl in her older years, and love them to death. But something had to give. Like I couldn't be
everywhere.
Yeah, it was just so bad. So before I even went full time into construction, I made another career change, and I became an executive recruiter for placing people in accounting and finance positions.
Okay.
Because it would provide me more flexibility.
Sure.
But then the flexibility was changing, things were changing in the environment of recruiting. So I decided, that's it. I'm taking a leap of faith. We're paying for our own benefits, babe. It's like no more free benefits through the company.
And that's big because you got the family plan.
Yeah, and it was the family plan. So, and then that's when I said, I'm doing this. I'm ready. I'm going to jump. And that's what I did. So I went full go with the construction company. Then a few years after, my husband decides, I don't want to do this anymore. And then
that must have been like a what?
I was like, what do you mean you don't want to do it? We got a rhythm going. This is going great. And he's like, I just don't want to do it anymore. So he became a home inspector. He went to school for that, became a home inspector.
At least you have a lead flow now.
Yeah. Well, no, he's no longer a home inspector. He's retired now.
Okay.
Forced retirement, unfortunately, with his health, but all good. He's doing great now. So, but it was like, do I go back to corporate America? Like my husband's thinking, oh, you're going to go back to either becoming a recruiter or that. And I decided, no, I'm starting my own company. So I did. And when I started my own company, that also meant starting my own team. So, and all new employees, all my new subcontractors who have been with me for years.
Yeah.
You know, I have such faith in them. And, you know, our team is great, not because of me, okay, but because of them. Because we make sure that everybody communicates with everybody. It's not just me communicating with the team members, but making sure that, you know, they interconnect with each other on the job sites, that they know what each other are doing at the job sites. So, because if you, like I said, remember my beginning years, I wanted to know what
All the pieces,
everything, so I knew how to do my job. I just implemented that same philosophy with our group, and they're fabulous. I love them.
Awesome. So now you love it.
Yes.
You're not going anywhere. This is
No.
this is it. Now are the kids gonna join the business?
Oh no, that's a joke. But they are.
No, that's a joke.
But I will tell you this: my kids watched everything I did for the construction company, and they watched everything I did when I was an executive recruiter. And they also watched a little bit of corporate America because they were still old enough to understand and everything, you know, and yet still young, you know, and would ask me questions. Well, all 4 of my kids are all self-employed.
That's awesome.
They're all entrepreneurs.
That's great.
They don't work for anybody. They pay their own benefits. You know.
The earlier you learn how to pay the benefits, the easier it gets in time.
Exactly.
You know, when I left
Exactly.
corporate America, and I was like, oh, I got to pay for benefits now. It's like,
Well,
this is terrible.
Well, you kind of learn, like when you're watching, it's like they know what the pros and cons are being self-employed. They understand the tumultuous environment when you're self-employed. You know, it takes a lot. We're not just dealing, you know, we don't have just one hat on. We have so many hats on, and you can relate, Tom. You know this yourself.
Yep.
Okay, you're running your own company. You're trying to create the biz, you know, all that stuff. So they saw all that, and they saw the ups and
The
downs
hustle.
and the cycles
Yeah.
and so on. And even seeing the negative, but with the positive.
I can't believe all 4 of them.
Oh,
went
all
in.
4.
And
Yeah.
even the adopted one. They
Yeah.
didn't. They should have learned.
Oh, she's great. Oh my God, I love Alyssa. She's and today's her birthday. By the way.
happy birthday.
Yeah, so
happy birthday, Alyssa.
So it's just wonderful. Our youngest Ashley is 23. Lives in.
What do they do?
So our youngest Ashley lives in Los Angeles, California.
Okay.
She's a makeup artist, and she works on films and TV sets, things like that.
That's cool. She's got a cool job.
Oh yeah, she's making a name for herself, which is amazing because that's a very hard
Industry to break into.
Then Paige, who is 29, and she lives in New Mexico in Albuquerque area, Cedar Crest, and she has a company called Sugar Moon Syrups. Phenomenal. I have a bunch of bottles in my fridge, but it's for mocktails and cocktails, coffee, tea, things like that. And she's doing really well. She's actually opened it up now to national, so it can be shipped nationally. She's doing great.
She's doing great.
Alyssa is in a nonprofit sector called CFC Loud and Clear, Healing Communities US, which is in this area. It's an amazing, amazing organization. So her husband, who started this, similar to my story, her husband who started this like 10, 12 years ago with his mom, and Lynn is fabulous. Lynn has since retired from the group, and Alyssa has taken over all the operations, and she's doing fabulous. I mean, she's so
Great.
good. And then our oldest, Tanner, who just turned 31, owns a production company. He used to work at Netflix, and now he does all post-production for TV, documentaries, corporate also. So it's a combination.
They all have great careers.
Yeah, they are. You know what? We've always taught them to, you know, not everybody went to college. And this is a discussion I just had with somebody in another area, that not everybody went to college. And they have to make the choice for themselves. I never pushed them to go one way or another, and nor did my husband. We always said, you know, you have to follow what makes you feel good. Like the next day you wake up and I'm like, you know, I had a great day yesterday. Or even though I had a bad day, I feel good about continuing it today.
Yeah.
You know, like just keep going. Because it took me years to feel, you know, find my niche of what I love and makes me happy and thrive and so on.
After
and
a triple
that's what they
major,
did.
you told them they didn't even have to go to college. I love it.
No, I never believed, like, I was the first college graduate of my family, which is
That's
an
awesome.
honor
Congrats,
to be
yeah.
that, you know. We came here from Italy, and it was just an amazing feat. Like, that was something that was embedded with our parents. Like, you need to go to college, you need to go to college, you need to go to college. And, but that's just the way it was, you know? But with our kids, we didn't force we said, you have options. Look at the options, travel, whatever it is that you want to do, figure it out. My older son and daughter automatically knew where they wanted to go. One went to culinary, the other one went into majors for the arts. And then, and my two younger ones decided we don't want to go to college, and they figured out where they wanted to be. But Alyssa gradually got into where she is right now. She's doing fabulous. And Ashley knew from a young girl, I mean, 8 years old, she wanted to do makeup. She just knew, like, that was where she wanted to be. Oh my gosh, she loves it. You know, so everybody knew where they wanted to be, which is very hard, because think about it. You know, you got to figure out your career by 22 years old.
Yeah.
Like, that's insane.
I was talking to a chef the other day.
Yeah.
And I said to her, she says, I never watched cartoons as a kid. I watched the cooking channel.
Right?
She goes, I knew. I said, she told me when she was 14, she knew she wanted to do this. I said, so at 14, you knew what you wanted to do? She said, no, I knew at 5. She goes, I had a passion for food.
Yes.
From the time I was a little kid. I never watched cartoons. I never did things like that some of these other young children did.
Right.
She goes, I watched the Food Network. I learned, and I loved it, and the passion.
Oh, yeah.
So
it definitely
it's
is.
great when someone has a passion like that young and
I
sees
love
it
seeing
through.
that. Yeah, I love seeing this younger generation taking risks and chances. This is the time to do it.
Do it now.
Go for it.
Fail.
Take the challenge. Fail. Exactly. Because you know what? I have failed numerous times. My husband has failed numerous times. But guess what? You're not going to know unless you
learn from
put
failure.
yourself into it. Exactly.
You can't learn if you're always taking the safe route.
No.
So like we have an employee here one time who said to me about like trying to do something. I said, go out on your own, try it.
Yeah.
If it doesn't work, you failed. You're 20-something years old. Fail at it and
exactly.
You know, like try it. There's no harm in fail. And I think people get so caught up in the fact of, what if I fail? What if this happens?
Right.
What if you fail? You fail, and you move on to the next thing. And but you're never going to learn, and you're never going to be able to take chances. And what I never wanted to do. I knew I started my own business at 30, but I didn't want to just be. I was in corporate America, and I was doing very well, and I had a nice. Everything was very safe and risk adverse.
Right.
I was working for a Fortune 10 company, so it wasn't like there was ever going to be a problem.
Exactly.
But on the other side is, I said, if I didn't try this now, what happens? And as you get older, I think it's harder to start a business as you have, you have bigger bills. You
Exactly.
have a house.
The responsibilities.
You have a husband, wife, partner. You have children. It starts like that. The window just starts to get smaller and smaller.
It does get smaller, but even with that, I am the first person that, and I used to do this in recruiting. I have people come in saying, I hate what I do.
Mm-hmm.
I hate accounting. I hate finance. I don't like, I go, well, what would you want to do? And then when they tell me what they want to do, I said, well, why don't we figure out a game plan to transition into that? Well, yeah, but I have kids, and I have this, and I have that. And I was like, okay, well, 5 years from now, you're going to still hate your job, but 5 years from now, you could be in an opportunity that you start now that puts you into that financial stability that you want, but you're going to be happy. You're going to be satisfied.
I like it.
You know what I mean? Like, why waste those years being in a position that you can't stand? So I think that's why I admire this generation. People are always knocking this generation, and I'm the one that's saying, why are you knocking them? They're the ones that are saying, I'm quitting my job. I'm going for it. I'm going for the challenge. I'm taking a chance on myself. We did not, during my age group, I'm going to be 60.
Okay.
And I'm telling you right now, during my age group, you didn't have a lot of young people. It was always embedded by us because of the generation before us, because of the Depression and
Great
so
Depression,
on.
yeah.
It was always get in a stable company, get the benefits, make sure you got a check every single week, blah, blah. Oh my God, you want to take a chance? Like my mom was the spitting image of, oh no, you don't want to do that. Oh, no.
I like how you have the accent for her too.
So
She'd be so proud.
but it was just, it's just like, that was the way we grew up, is because they wanted to make sure we had a safety net.
Stability. And
Stability,
again,
safety net, all that.
it wasn't for bad. It was just they were stable because of, I believe, because
Right.
of the Depression, because a lot of immigrants at that time coming over from Italy, Ireland, and other countries, and kind of just getting
Exactly.
started. And now they wanted better for their children.
Exactly.
And they wanted their children to go to college and get a job and get a pension and get their benefits, so
Exactly.
I think it's just the timing, but it's great to see entrepreneurs out there.
And people are not even aware of this, but I mean, social media has made it more possible. And yeah, pros and cons, social media. I get it. I'm the worst with social media, but that's why I'm hiring you for that. So, but it is a great avenue for
to meet new people,
this younger generation to explore and realize and say, oh my gosh, I could do something like this. This person is doing it. Why can't I?
We had someone on the podcast from Australia recently.
Yeah.
Like, that's how
Yeah.
social media works. Like,
I know.
It's not just Brielle, Manasquan
No,
Point
no,
anymore. Like, it's
no.
everywhere.
And I think it's just wonderful that they have the creative minds, the sense to say, and I really feel it stemmed from the parents too,
Mm-hmm.
because I think the parents all came in there going, well, we're in a terrible job. We don't like what we're doing. Why would we push that on
Yeah.
our kids? Yeah, go explore.
Yep.
Yeah, go check it out. You know what? You're young. Do it now.
Make a mistake
now.
now.
People are dying left and right. You don't know when your day's
Yeah.
coming up. Go for it. Take that challenge.
Take the shot.
And that's the way we raise our kids, to say, you don't have to pigeonhole yourself. You can do whatever it is that you want. You can change your career 10 times over.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, people don't realize this, but you on average, people change their careers 6 times throughout their lifetime, all the way up to 75 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a fun fact.
It's really wild to think that there are people making changes even later
Yeah.
in life. Like, I'm going to be 60 and I'm like, I could do something else if I want to. My life is great. I could say, yeah, I'm going to try something else. And why not?
I love the enthusiasm that you brought to this podcast today.
Aw, thank you.
And I love the fact that you have an open mind for all these kind of things. And it's great to hear, one, about your success, and two, that you've got 4 kids that all have their own things going on.
Well, one thing I do want to share.
Sure.
I love the fact that I had 3 people that worked for me, and they all 3 came to me, and through the years. And Chet's my nickname. I think you already know
Yeah.
that. And they will go, "Hey, Chet, how could we start our own company?"
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, "Oh, you want to start your own company?" I think other people would be frowning upon that.
But you embraced it.
Oh, I did. And one of them is actually in North Carolina, killing it right now.
Good.
Yeah,
Doing what?
and tile work.
Okay.
Yeah, his brother lived in, I believe it was Texas,
Uh-huh.
and his brother was doing tile work out there. He was doing tile work over here. He was also doing some painting and stuff for me and little odds and ends. And he was like, how can I start my own business? And, I gave him the tools. I showed him how to do but I said, before you go into business, we're going to set up some charts, so you can figure out why you're going into business.
Yep.
And what are the challenges of the business. Because unfortunately, in the state of New Jersey, when it comes to licensing, there is no licensing for general contractors, home improvement contractors, and just contractors altogether, the whole avenue. The only area that you have license is your HVAC folks, your electricians, your plumbers. We fill out an application, submit a fee, show we have liability insurance, and that's that. And I have been saying for years that is the stupidest philosophy of the state of New Jersey, because this is how you could weed out the true companies.
Yeah. The worst part is the GCs can cause more damage than anybody.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I've already been put on 3 jobs in the last 4 years by architects that are like, yeah, can you help us out on this one and step in, because we're going to condemn the houses based on the people they hired.
Yeah.
I mean, I have stories on top of
Oh,
stories
I'm
for that
sure.
stuff. Just like all the GCs out there, the contractors that are also fixing messes.
Yeah.
We all have stories. I mean, if we just got around this table right
Yeah.
now, we could probably definitely write a great screenplay or a great book on the stuff that we encounter.
Got to get your son in here
Yeah.
and do a documentary.
But that's the thing, is by taking what I do, I wanted to make sure that the 3 guys that came to me, they also molded into that. And then 2 of them actually do sub work for me.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, I have
That's
2
great.
of them that works. One is a mason. I love him. He's such a great guy, and he does some sub work for me on the masonry side, paver work.
Yep, sure.
And the other is a painter, and he also does painting
That's
work for
great
me
that you
too.
got them set up in their own business.
Yeah,
and that 2
it's
of them,
awesome.
then the ones that are local that you're still using.
Yeah, and I always say I'm priority because I got you
Of
started.
course. It goes without saying.
I'm not always priority though.
That's funny. Well, this was a great conversation today. I'm glad you came in.
Oh,
I'm glad
no,
you came
it was
on.
so wonderful.
And let people know where they can find you before I take over your social media. But
Right.
as of now, where can people find you? So
Right.
that they,
As of now, we're at www.ers-na.com. Our website is being updated, and then eventually Tom's going to be taking over with our social media. You can find us on Instagram, ERS Better Homes, and Facebook, ERS Better Homes.
Perfect.
And don't judge me by my Instagram and social media because
We'll
I'm
get it
not
there.
great.
We'll
I'm
get
not
it there.
great,
We'll get it there.
But I love showing my clients the jobs in person.
Yep.
So if they're like, yeah, I'm not satisfied with these pictures, it's cool. I have a lot of clients that don't mind at all for you to come and
over.
take a look at what we did for them.
That's
Yeah.
fantastic. Well,
Yeah.
it's great to have you on, and then we'll talk to you soon.
Oh, thank you so much.
Have a
I'm
great
looking
day.
forward to you tackling my job.
All right.